Hello, everyone. I'm reading Chapter 6, Standing Before Mr. Oakax. The leaves of the oak trees around Mr. Oakax's oak shielded him from the rain, but Poppy and her father were being drenched. The owl's head, moreover, was pulled down between his wings, while his eyes, enormously wide and unblinking, gave Poppy the sensation that there was nothing she might do or even think of doing, which he would not see. To Poppy he seemed to be pure power and fury. Wanting to look away, she glanced at the base of Mr. Oakax's tree. There lay what appeared to be a mound of pebbles. Gradually, a ghastly realization came over her. What she was seeing was a mound of Mr. Oakax's upchucked pellets, the closely packed and undigested bits of fur and bone from his dinners. The vision made her blood turn cold. Only the sound of Mr. Oakax's sneering voice jolted her back to alertness. "What do you want, Lungwort?" the owl demanded, his claws continually flexing on his perch. Lungwort, holding cap in hand like an empty bucket, said, "May I wish you a very pleasant evening, Mr. Oakax?" "It's not very pleasant," Mr. Oakax returned with a snarl. "No, well, you're absolutely right there, Mr. Oakax," Lungwort replied, straining to sound jaunty. "But April showers, as the song goes, bring May flowers, and Mr. Oakax clapped his beak. "Lungwort, it's summer. Did you come here to sing me idiot songs, or do you have something important to say?" "Well, in fact, I did bring. Hurry up, I've not eaten my dinner yet, and I'm hungry." "Well, yes, of course," Lungwort said. "I understand perfectly." Lungwort hastily put on his hat, not noticing until too late that it had filled with rain. Water cascaded over his head. With a nervous shake, he fumbled to unroll his speech paper. Before he could get it out, Mr. Oakax's eyes grew bigger. "Who's that?" he demanded as he moved his head about to bring Poppy into better focus. "Forgive me," Lungwort said. "I've been rude. This is one of my dutiful daughters." Poppy stepped forward. "Look up. There's the good mouse. Mr. Oakax, may I introduce Poppy to you?" Prodded by her father, she stepped forward gingerly. All she could see was Mr. Oakax's eyes. She felt not just looked at, but attacked. "Poppy, huh?" he growled. "I think we've already met." "One of my sweetest," Lungwort offered. Mr. Oakax ignored him. Instead, he said, "What happened to your nose, girl?" I scraped it. "A close call, I'd say." "Yes, sir." "Little girl mice should be more careful." "Yes, sir. Do you understand me?" Poppy longed to run away. Lungwort nudged her. "Poppy, dear," Mr. Oakax asked if you were understanding him. "Yes, sir, I do." Poppy squeaked with a bob of her head. "All right, then," Mr. Oakax said. "Now be a good little girl and come stand under my tree while I talk to your father." Hating herself for acting so fearful, queasy at the thought of going closer to the mound of pellets, Poppy appealed to her father with a look. Lungwort, however, only nodded. "Move it," Mr. Oakax snapped. Averting her eyes from the pellets, Poppy crept toward the tree, the flag dragging behind her. When she reached the spot, she was unable to resist the fascination of the horrible mound. Once she looked, she caught sight of something that glittered. "All right, Mr. Lungwort," Mr. Oakax said. "Let's hear what you have to say." "Thank you, sir, thank you." Lungwort held out his piece of paper. Now the thimbleful of water, as well as the rain, had drenched it. All the same, he tried to read. "Whereas Mr. Oakax, great horned owl, ruler of the Dimwood Forest region, who out of his kindness and wisdom protects all members of the deer mice family. Whereas the said family of deer mice living in Grey House, in return for Mr. Oakax's protection, have agreed to ask his permission whenever they wish to move about. Whereas the deer mice family, having grown so great in numbers, need a second place of habitation so as to maintain and enhance their lives with sufficient food." And Lungwort paused to shake the paper. "And what?" Mr. Oakax demanded. "The paper is somewhat wet," Lungwort apologized. "So is the style," Mr. Oakax observed. "Go on." Lungwort cleared his throat and continued to read. "Whereas Mr. Oakax, protector of deer mice, is famous for his kindness, generosity, and compassion. Stop!" "Yes?" "Repeat that." "What?" "That line about me." "About kindness, generosity, and compassion?" "Right. I like it. That's well written." "Yes, thank you. I wrote it."